So it is a string type. Okay, and this framework is extending the language. That means this iAngular4 extends iAngular2. That means now Angular4 can access the language and it can access the framework. Now, if anybody wants to use Angular, if he is using Angular 2, only one facility is available to him. If he is using Angular 4, then the facilities of Angular 2 and the facilities of Angular 4 are both available to him. Suppose we are using interface iAngular, suppose 9, Angular 9, it extends iAngular 4. That means already 4 is present, and to the 4 we are extending few more options into it. So that means here I defined, so testing, or I will say as suppose IV, it is a string type. Like this we configured. Now if I am using Angular 9 as my version, then I have access to all of them. But I am not implementing all of them at a time. Why you are not implementing at a time all of them? Because I want my user to implement up to Angular 4 so that he will get all the features of Angular 2 and 4. I want my user to use only Angular 2. That means I must cleanly separate everyone. But at the same time, I must able to extend the existing ones. I don't want more than one to be extended at a time, because I want separately used later also. Suppose I am not extending Angular 4 with Angular 2, and here I am writing Angular 2 and iAngular 4, Angular 2 and Angular 4. I am writing like this. It is okay. But the problem is, if anybody wants to use Angular 4, he will not get access to language. Right? That means all are related to each other, cleanly separated from each other. In that case, you have to use a multi-level hierarchy. Angular 4 extends iAngular 2. It extends iAngular 2, which extends Angular 9 extends Angular 4. These are all the facilities. Means how we can configure them and how we can use them, right? So this is one important point about extensibility. Then what we do, LET, I'm using Angular. Angular is implementing iAngular 9. Then it should have access to all of them. Language is a string type and is equal to, because it's just a property, language is a string type. That means I will say Typescript. And a framework. So it is using, suppose Cordova. And it is using IV. It is rendering engine. So IV rendering engine. Cordova framework, right? And the TypeScript language, like this we are defining. So now I want to print all these details. That just what we need to do is we need to access and print all these details. So how we can configure? Just I will say console.log, and I will put here, so a heading, Angular 9 features. And in the next line, I am printing all the details. One is Angular.language, and in the next line, I am printing Angular dot framework, and next line I am printing Angular dot iv. Okay, all the details are configured and printed here. This represents a multi-level hierarchy. Let's run this and see. When I run this and see demo.ts, now it will show all the options. Angular 9 features, TypeScript language, Cordova framework, IV rendering engine. So that means, suppose if I am implementing up to Angular 4, now my Angular cannot have this IV engine, because in 4 there is no IV engine. But in 4 we have up to language and framework. Suppose I am implementing Angular 2, then I don't have this framework and rendering engine also. So currently it is showing error for framework. After I remove that, it will show error for IV. One after another, it will show all the errors. That means I remove this framework, commented that framework. It shows IV is also not there. I have to remove that IV also. All right. So, but important, if I say that, okay, it is implementing 9, that means it will have features to all of them. It will have features to all of them. So that is how we can implement the functionality. This is the basic approach of working with extensibility. You will understand this one more time when you are working with classes also. This is multi-level extensibility. So a contract can be extended by another contract. It requires multiple and multi-level extensibility. That is multiple and multi-level extensibility. Hope you are clear with this concept. What is extensibility, why we need extensibility, and different types of extensibility of the contracts. Now, after understanding the extensibility of the contracts, some more points are there about the contracts that we will discuss in the next session. All right. Hope you are clear with the topics. And important, for 1-2 days, I will keep the session little bit short. Right. Later, I will conduct a long time so that we can complete the concept by correct, because 1-2 days technical network issues are there. So I hope you are clear with the voice. There is no problem now. So without break continuously, you are getting the voice, right? So there is no network issue, right? Fine. It's okay. So, yeah. So fine. So for 1-2 days, you need to add, you adjust for that. Later we will conduct a more little bit. We will, if time permits, we will conduct a session on Sunday also, so that we can spend more time and we can finish the topics early, right? So then we will meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we will continue with this. If you have any doubts, you can ping me the doubts. You will learn. So already about void type, already I discussed it with you. And you will learn again about the void type, when to use, how to use, when you are we are discussing about the methods, right? When we are discussing about the methods, we will understand about that. Multi-level over multiple, I already told you just now. So suppose I am implementing, in our example, I am implementing only Angular 4. That means I must have access up to Angular 4 only. All previous and up to that particular part, it should give access. Multiple means what? It is accessing all of them. Multiple means it is accessing all of them, right? Multi-level means it is accessing only what is needed for that. Up to that point only it is giving access. multiple doesn't have that chance. If you implement multiple